Hi everybody, I'm Diane Fener and I wrote a book. I want to tell you in 5 minutes, maybe a little less, about myself and my book. I was a teacher, a writer, and a lawyer. When I first got my degree in education, it was 1971. I had my training in the revolutionary year 1968. That's when I first went away to college at Boston University, and that was the year that the colleges were closed down by the student strikes. I went on to Brandeis University, where I studied revolution. I was fascinated by it and worried about my country not surviving. I studied the Russian Revolution, I studied the American Revolution, I studied the French Revolution, a little bit of the Chinese Revolution. I transferred over to Georgetown University and got my law degree in 1979 so that I could actually have a practical way to support myself. And for the next 40 years, I tried cases across the country. I was admitted to the bar in Washington, D.C., Virginia, New York, California, and I was admitted to the federal bar for certain purposes in Maryland. When I had first graduated from Georgetown University, I was hired by a major multinational law firm, Fulbright and Jaworski, which was at that time the 10th largest law firm internationally, so on the planet. I switched over eventually into working for government as a public defender. I was very much taken up with social justice. I think that covers most of my credentials. I was a writer for many publications, worked at several newspapers and magazines in the Northeast Corridor. So I think more than my academic credentials, I'm currently the chair of the Senior Lawyers Association of the New York City Bar. I'm more interested in telling you at halfway mark now. I'm more interested in telling you about the personal experiences that I had growing up in North Smithfield, Rhode Island, which is a very small town, but I think they reflect the experiences that many of us had growing up, and I think that this explains what I mean when I talk about the country being in trouble. We had a wonderful life, and my dad had nothing more than a high school education. He worked in a factory, yet he was able to pay for college for 4 children. He paid for all of our medical expenses. We had cars. We never had to worry. Today, it's the first time that parents know that their children will not do better socioeconomically. This is the first generation of kids that know that they won't do as well as their parents, or better, which is what had been the tradition in this country uninterruptedly. It's not just that. Our cities and towns are disappearing. I mean, the manufacturing bases are disappearing. The jobs are gone. I can't go back to my hometown. I know that's true for a lot of people. The deindustrialization and the delocation that went on in my town is that all of the factories that ran along the river, all the mills where my dad worked and his generation worked, are hollowed out, empty and gone. All of the jobs have been shipped away. That's, I think, at the heart of what is creating such strife and insurrection in our country. And I write about climate catastrophe and gun violence and taxing the rich and income inequality. And, 2020 was a year when the big topic was how the president was polarizing the country and coronavirus was killing off people. I think that it's time that we all took a look at what we can do. And I wrote this book about it. I also wrote the book because my friend said, you got to stop talking about this, and I'm obsessed with it. So they wouldn't hang out with me if I didn't shut up. So I wrote it. Thanks.